No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
And here we go. This is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor, and we are another podcast day. Still dark outside, and it's cold. It's 34 degrees this morning. I took the dog out, and it was cold. But, you know what? We're almost to spring. We're almost there, and soon we'll be complaining about how hot it is. Because we humans are never, ever satisfied with our weather. We always have something to complain about, right? This morning I'm complaining about the cold, and then soon I'll be complaining about the heat. Never happy. I'm a never happy camper. Listen, I wanted to talk about, yesterday I talked a little bit about companies and leaders who become woke leaders, and how it is a big destruction to businesses. We've seen it in Twitter, we've seen it in Disney, we've seen it in so many different companies where they have had to back away because they lost focus. They backed away from being woke because they lost focus on the actual part of running a business. And that means you get up every single day and you devote 100% of your time to running that business and making it better and growing it. But when you go woke, the problem is you lose focus. And pretty soon you're spending more of your time on woke issues that have nothing to do with business. It's a sad situation. But you know, I also want to tell you that it goes on the other side too. There are far-right individuals who have had a lot of financial distress because of their political views also. One of them, and there's a story running this morning, MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell says the company is going broke defending election fraud claims. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Business-wise, stupid mistake. You never involve your name associated with your company to fund political activity. It just never works out. Just like it doesn't work out in the woke community, it doesn't work out in the conservative community when they bring politics into your company. Once you bring politics into your company, it's an unethical act. Politics is not ethics. It has nothing to do with ethics. Look at the politicians who do and say what they do, and you can see that there's no ethical force behind them. It's purely for the money. It's purely for the political gain. Now, Mike Lindell got involved in this dispute over Trump's election, and then over the person who was running for governor in Arizona. But he's now having to defend lawsuits on election fraud. MyPillow founder, CEO Mike Lindell claims the company has had to borrow up to $10 million to keep the lights on. So when you get into politics, and when you bring politics into your company and use your company's name, you're going to pay heavily for it. It's just what happens. That's why I always say, stay away from politics when you're running a company, because it will destroy you. It will be very costly, not just financial costly, but also costly in your reputation, in your brand. It brings it down. So we have to be very, very careful about that. One of the things that I saw this morning, and I'm going to have to say to Apple, yeah, you're going to have to do more cost cutting. So Apple is reportedly delaying some employee bonuses as the company cuts costs. And I'm sorry, but those bonuses are not the right time to be given out at the moment. When you're trying to cut costs and you're trying to protect your shareholders, you have got to do some things that people will not like. One of the things that I saw very interesting this morning because I knew that this was happening, but I didn't know how far it went to. So there is a laid off employee from Meta, and she says that the fake work stories are true. Now, I've heard this for a long time. Now, Meta had a lot of employees, thousands and thousands and thousands of employees. What happens with companies like tech companies is they say that technology is going to change your world. Technology is going to make your lives run smoother. But the problem is, when you look at their companies, they have overstaffed. They have brought people in, they have hired, they have done all this sort of nonsense when they're supposed to be a technology company and they should be running their company through their own technology. Not through, I think they have like 80,000 employees. That's a lot of people. So there's a story out that there's claims from the company laying off thousands of employees who don't have real jobs have been discussed online. And I've seen this going on for a long time now. At least one of the fake work stories might be true. One TikTok is claiming, TikToker, everybody has a new title. I'm a TikToker. I'm not. I'm not even on TikTok. Is claiming on the platform that as a former employee of Meta, she had to go out and look for work. She wasn't being utilized, and she had to go around looking for work that she could do. Now that happens, and I believe it happens, and I believe it happened in Meta, that you had a lot of people in there that were getting a very nice salary, but not really performing. And that's why Zuckerberg came out and said, listen, get rid of the individuals who are not pulling their weight, who are not doing anything. Get rid of them. So a lot of those employees were gone. And they had to go because they no longer made the company financially solvent. So they are cutting and they're cutting and cutting. And that's what businesses have to do. They have to do those kinds of management decisions that have to look at people and look at the value that they bring to the company. And if they are not bringing value to the company, you get rid of them. And if they don't have work, then you get rid of them because they're draining the cash flow of the company. So that is a problem. And companies are having to face it now. They're having to look at their employees. In fact, I said at the very beginning when we were going through the pandemic, and I knew that we were going to bring back employees. We were going to have to restart up our companies. And I said very forcefully then, look at the individuals who bring something to your company and remove the individuals. Don't bring back the individuals who do not bring value to the company. And as CEOs, you have to look at your value too. Are you bringing value in direction and solid business ideas to your company? And as we are seeing, as we look at the failures of these three banks, we saw that the CEOs were the biggest part of the problem, along with the board of directors. If the board of directors is not providing guidance to the CEO, but just going along with the flow and getting passionately involved in social issues, social political issues, you're going to bring that company down. Because political issues in business do not mix. They never have mixed. Every company that has tried to do it have stained their reputation or stained their branding and their standing in the marketplace. Because Americans look at them and say, are they providing me with a good product, or are they just all about politics? And they back away from those companies because it's just not right to do. Now, we have a problem in the banking industry that started yesterday. Well, it started a long time way before yesterday, but the bank known as Credit Suisse, and they just got a $54 billion infusion from the National Swiss Bank. Now, the only problem is that the bank that gave them the loan had to take a $150 billion hit in 2022. So you've got a company or an organization, a banking organization, propping up Credit Suisse, who has problems of their own. So if you look at this whole situation, it doesn't make sense. At least it doesn't make sense to me. Credit Suisse has been around for a long time. But based on their risk management and based on their senior executive management, you have to have some doubt in what that bank is doing. And that, unfortunately, Credit Suisse is so internationally and tied to so many different international companies and other banks that if they do fail, it will be a landslide to all the other bankers and companies out there. So Credit Suisse is being bailed out by $54 billion from the Central Bank of Switzerland. So we have another situation where the government is having to bail out bad management of these companies. We can't be doing this. This is what happens in business. If you run a company badly, do you really have the ability to be bailed out every single time that you make a bad decision? Just like with Silicon Valley Bank. That was really bad executive decision making. And they took on this situation of risky business deals with risky startups, and they had nothing to back it up with except a bunch of parties that they were going to and supporting the LGBT through the risk manager. I mean, this is stupid because you don't do that in business. You just don't. You can't do that in business. So the economy is ticking at the moment because we don't know in which direction any of these banks are going. We have a solvency issue and we have a management issue and we have an inflation issue. And that inflation is driving bad decision-making policies within these banks and also within our nation, because the Federal Reserve has not curbed inflation hardly at all. And they may have caused an issue within the banking system. So we don't have leadership from the top. We don't have leadership within these corporations. And we need to start holding them accountable. Especially you owners of these stocks and these companies. Hold them accountable. Hold them accountable. So each and every single one of us have got to do better at the managing of our lives, the managing of our own finances. If you have money in one single bank, spread it out into several, because we don't know how secure the banking system is at the moment. Spread it out. Protect yourself. Listen, if you would like to have more contact with me, go to my website at www.lodge-co.com. If you have a business question, send it in to me at thebusinessadvisor@gmail.com. Everybody go out and have a great day. This is the day that we start making good executive decisions. Love you guys. Bye-bye.